Out front now, former senior economic advisor to the Trump campaign, Steve Moore, former chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Obama, Austan Goolsbee. Okay, Steve, so here we go. Let's start with, I know your overall ranking was you like this plan, not perfect, but you gave it a B+. So let's start with the AMT. The AMT has been around for a long time, 4 decades, and it was put in place so that rich people couldn't use deductions to avoid taxes. Here's why this matters. In 2005, the year of Trump's leaked tax return, he paid $38 million in federal taxes. 31 of those 38 were the AMT. So let's just be clear here, Steve. You're okay with this. The president would get a massive $31 million tax cut just in that 1 year.
Well, let me just go back to one issue you started this conversation with, which is some of these Republicans that are, peeling off on this. I got to tell you, I was with a lot of the House Republicans today. I've talked to a lot of the Senate Republicans today. I got to tell you, I think the Republicans are pretty unified right now. I mean, sure, there are some Republicans that are splitting off this, but I think they realize, that this is a plan that will grow the economy. They got to hang together here, and I think they will. Now, on your issue, and by the way,
now let's get to Trump's $31 million tax
cut. Right, okay. So one of the things that we're trying to do here in this plan is get rid of a lot of the special. The reason we have to have an AMT is because we have all this junk in the tax system. So rich people take advantage of all of these loopholes. And what we're trying to do here is get rid of a lot of loopholes. I mean, why does Warren Buffett and Bill Gates need a mortgage deduction on their house? Why do we have our tax write-offs for football stadiums and things like that? We're getting rid of a lot of that, and that's going to make the AMT unnecessary because the rich aren't going to have the places to stash away their money. The whole plan is lower rates, but get rid of loopholes. I think
I
even
know
Austan
you can't
would
give
agree
me an
with that.
exact number because we don't know his full tax returns or whatever, but give me a sense here, right? He paid $38 million. $31 million was because of the AMT. Are you trying to say that he's not going to get a tax cut, that all these other things are going to make up for it? Or are you saying, yes, he is going to get a tax cut of many, many millions of dollars?
Donald Trump personally?
Yes. I mean, I'm just saying, hypothetically, yeah.
I don't know because I don't know.
Him. I'm using him as an example.
But I will say this. I think that this plan is designed to give everyone who pays taxes a tax cut. So if you're a middle-class family, you're going to save on your taxes. If you're paying taxes, you're going to get a cut. And for most people watching the show, they don't care about how much taxes that Donald Trump is going to pay. They care about their own tax bill. And, as the taxi driver who drove me over here said, show me the money. They want to see what it's going to save for them. And for the average family, about $2,000.
Or $31 million for Donald Trump. Austan, go ahead.
Look, Steve gave it a B+. I'll give it an F+. And I'll put the plus in there to try to encourage them to fix the glaring problems. But if you look at this tax plan, what Steve is saying, they got rid of loopholes. The loopholes they're getting rid of include things like people now get to deduct the interest that they pay on student loans. They're getting rid of that.
Yes.
People who have massive medical expenses get to deduct that. They're getting rid of that deduction so that they can abolish the estate tax for billionaires, so that they can abolish the AMT, which would, by the way, personally benefit Donald Trump by $31 million. I think the biggest danger, the thing that the Republicans are most afraid of at this point, is that people are actually going to read what's in this bill. Because when they do that, I think there are going to be a lot of Republicans that peel off and say, I can't support this.
Well, look, I mean, the thing about the AMT, most people don't know about the AMT because, most Americans don't deal with it, but it's increasingly hitting a lot more
Americans. Yeah, but those that do hate it, they hate it. And more people are hit by it every year. It's a nasty
exactly.
thing.
I mean, so more and more people are being, and then that's sort of the point of this is that it was supposed to be, the AMT, you go back, I think it was introduced in the late 60s, early 70s. Yep. It was going to hit, the richest 200 or 300 families. Now you've got, I don't remember the exact numbers, but a lot of people, as many as a third of the people who file also have to pay the AMT. And the reason they hate it, Aaron, is because you have to go through all of the work of compiling, dealing with the current tax code as it is with all its Byzantine features. And then when you're done with that, you have to fill out another form, the AMT, and then you have to pay
it keeps accountants in business.
It's unfair.
Okay, but I want to get to each of you at this point.
Then repeal it just for them. Why repeal it for Donald Trump?
So here's the thing.
That's the basic puzzle, the total amount of money.
Steve, I know your
getting cut
point
for
is always that
high-income
you're fine with wealthy people getting a tax cut because they do pay the vast majority of taxes. I know that's your point of view, but it's the issue that I'm raising here is the president and his word right here. I did an interview with him when he first came out with a tax plan before you were even on board. Okay, Steve, with him in 2015. So I'm sure you made it a lot better. But at the time, I asked him whether he would pay more taxes directly, and here's how he answered the question.
I will probably end up paying more money. But at the same time, I think the economy will do better, so I'll make it up that way. But I will probably end up paying more money.
Not true at this point, right, Steve? Not true.
Look, I don't know how much he's going to pay, but I will say this. Every conversation I had with him, on this, and I did talk to him a lot about the tax plan, he basically said, I don't want, people like me to pay less taxes. That's one of the reasons, if you look at this current version of the plan, for people who make over $1 million, there's no tax rate reduction. They're going to still pay the 39.6%.
So what, do they all pay the AMT, Austin?
It abolishes the estate tax, which is paid by only the 5,000 richest families in the country.
But you know how much money that raises? It raises less than half of 1%.
It raises about $500 billion.
Okay.
It's
$500 billion. Why somebody,
$500 billion.
I talk to people all over the country who are small businessmen and women who hate this tax because they spend their whole life building up a business. They pay millions of dollars during their whole lifetime. They have a successful business. Maybe they make $10 million. And then the government's going to take half of it away, the IRS at your death. I mean,
and those 5,000 people, those 5,000 people are getting more than 10% of the total tax cut in the entire bill. It doesn't make any sense. And if you look...
By the way, you're leaving out something. I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but this plan also gets rid of something called the step-up basis at death on capital gains. So the big tax cut... This
plan also creates what has been called the mother of all loopholes, which is going to give pass-through entities a 25%.
The mother of all loopholes is the step-up basis debt on capital gains. Now you're going to have
I have to say the mother of all
dollars
loopholes.
That will be
I would
taxed.
love to have a conversation about that because there are so many candidates for it in terms of egregiousness or absolute value.
But Aaron,
we can go into this. I'll go with carried interest on pure egregiousness. But I got to leave it there.
This is about jobs and the economy. We do think it's going to grow the economy.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there.
Aaron.
Thank you both.